Hi everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Say Why Chicken Thigh. Today we're going to answer a few questions that we were asked in the comments or on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok regarding our fermentation feed video. And I want to start by saying thank you so much to the 5.7 thousand people that checked out that video, and also all the subscribers that we've gained since then. I never knew when I posted that video that it would be such an interesting topic to so many people, and I'm glad that I was able to help so many people out, hopefully save some money and provide some nutritious food for their backyard flocks as well. So today I'm going to answer some of the questions we've come across and hopefully help some others gain some clarity as far as how to use fermented feed and how it can be very beneficial to your flock and your budget. So I'm going to start by talking about the length of time that the feed needs to ferment and how this can be influenced by a few different factors. The number one factor that's going to influence the time it takes for your feed to process is probably going to be the temperature. So fermented feed is something you can do in cold or warm climates. It is ideal that you set up your fermented feed in a warmer location, and the warmer the location, the faster it's going to ferment. So if you live in a place like we do in Vermont, which is colder, even if you're fermenting your grain inside, you're typically going to need about 3 to 4 days for that grain to be fermented to the level that it would be beneficial to your flock. Whereas if you live in a tropical climate and you have warmer days, your feed might be ready to go in maybe as soon as 1 or 2 days. But the other thing you can do to go ahead and jumpstart that fermentation process is by using a little bit of the fermented feed to start your next batch. And sometimes what I do is I go ahead and I leave the residue inside the jar or the vessel that I'm working with and just go ahead and start a new batch with that residue in there. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to make that feed ferment just a little bit faster. It might be ready in 3 days if it's on a colder day, or even just overnight if it's on a hotter day. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So here in this feeder, I had just added 1 full jar of fermented feed. Now these chicks, I have 16 chicks this time around, and they will eat 2 of these jars of fermented feed in 1 day. And they're actually already foraging outside. They're about 2 weeks old yesterday, and they're already going outside foraging, so they're not eating a ton of grain at this point, which is super helpful. If they were eating only grain or it was wintertime and they couldn't forage, they'd probably eat about 4 of these little containers. But as you can see, they're eating all the grain out of the bottom, and since the fermented feed is a wet type of a feed, it's clinging to the inside of this jar. So when I talk about using the residue fermented feed or the residual fermented feed in the bucket, simply what I'm going to do is, when I go to make fermented feed, I'll just start it right inside this jar and go ahead and add some water, swish it right on the inside, keep all of this fermented feed that's left over, and start a new batch by filling this jar halfway with chick starter and water. And what that will do is I can expect to have fermented feed on a warm day like this. I would check it like tomorrow or the next day and look for those signs of activity in life. And I would be able to cut off at least 1 full day of the fermentation. One thing you can do to see when your fermented feed is ready is to look for signs of life inside your feed. So I'm going to show you some feed that's been fermenting for 2 days. So here in this jar, I have some chick starter that's been fermenting for about 3 days. And I'm going to get the camera as close as I can so you can notice that the grain is actually releasing bubbles into the water that's on top. Now, you always want to make sure that you have an inch of water on top of your feed at all times. So that might mean adding water to your feed as time progresses, especially if you have a ground up feed or a grit type feed like we're using today. If you have a whole grain that you're using, like whole grain oats or cracked wheat or something, when you're making your own fermented feed out of your own grains, you might not need to add as much water because it might not absorb as much water. But this ground up chick grit definitely absorbs a lot of water, and so maintaining that 1 inch of headspace of water on top is very important. So I'm going to go ahead and shake this container, and what it will do is hopefully release even more bubbles. And hopefully you can notice there's so much bubbly action inside, it's actually lifting up pieces of feed that's towards that water line. So if you look inside, you can see that it's very frothy on top. There's bubbles raising to the surface. So this feed, even though it's only been sitting for 2 days, I would say it's at the point where I could give it to my chicks right now because it's been rather warm. Right now it's about 70 degrees outside. So it's been fermenting in a warmer location than at the time when I made the fermented feed video. I think it was like November when I made that video. And the other thing you're going to notice is the smell. You're definitely going to notice that as the days progress, as the fermentation process continues, you are going to notice not a bad smell, but a stronger odor of the fermentation process. I would describe it as malty, a little bit sweet, very much like beer, like something is brewing inside there, almost like a sourdough starter. So the scent and the activity of the bubbles and the foaming and the expansion, these are all good signs that your fermented feed is ready to go and able to be fed to your chickens. The other question that I've been asked is how much dry feed to start with, and I really don't have an answer for this that's specific for your flock. I can tell you that when I'm making fermented feed for my 18 chicks, how much it takes because I pay attention to how much dry feed I would give them over the course of 1 day. So whenever you're starting fermented feed, you're just basically going to start with half as much dry feed as you would give your chickens over the course of 1 whole day. So you might have to do a little bit of research before you get started and pay attention to how much you're actually feeding your flock each day. So in the video, we demonstrated how to make fermented chick grit or chick starter, but you can easily make your own fermented feed out of your own feed mix using whole grains or whole cracked wheat or whole oats, whatever your chickens prefer and what you prefer to feed them. Now, we are not brand specific where we live, so we make fermented feed out of any type of feed that our chickens are currently eating. And the reason why you start with half is because your grain is going to at least double during the fermentation process because it is absorbing water. And in our case, with our fermented chick starter, that actually fermented to be 4 times the volume that we started with. Though it's hard to over ferment your feed, you still want to be mindful not to let it go too long and to give your chickens all of the fermented feed that you process by that 4th day or sooner if it's ready sooner. So that's why you start with half as much. Now, if you do this consistently and you find that your feed always is 3 times the amount or 4 times the amount, then by all means, you would start with that fraction. Instead of a half, you'd start with 1/3 as much dry feed. Another question I came across was, do I have to stir the feed? Now, honestly, I don't know. I went ahead and experimented with the last batch that I made, and I didn't stir it at all for the 3 days that it took to ferment, and it still fermented all the same with no problem. So maybe you don't have to stir it. Maybe that's just something that I read when I learned how to make fermented feed on one of my backyard chicken forums and just assumed it to be truth and followed that practice without giving it a try. So if there's a benefit to stirring it, then I would love to do more research and find that out. But at this present moment, I'm thinking maybe I was misinformed and stirring it's not necessary. And now, obviously, it probably helps to mix in some more oxygen and get things going. I could see how stirring it would be helpful in that way. But I don't honestly know that stirring is necessary anymore. And I'm really thankful that somebody asked that question because it changed my practice. And it definitely makes making fermented feed a lot easier now because it's completely hands-off. I just throw everything in a bucket, leave it alone for 3 days, and come back to it later. So thank you so much for pointing out that maybe it's just not necessary to stir it. Well, I thank you so much for asking questions about our video and the process of making fermented feed. I definitely learned a lot just listening to your questions and discovering some new things for myself. And I really appreciate if you've checked out this video or any of our videos on our channel, Say Why Chicken Thigh. And if you haven't become a subscriber yet, please consider subscribing to our channel. where we try to share our love for chickens, our love for gardening, and our love for really simple, really easy recipes. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.